I don't want to be involved with it, but I do respect the fact that it's going to do big numbers. It's just not boxing. And I don't think we should promote it as boxing.
Recently surfaced clips from Gervonta Davis's training camp reveal him exchanging heavy shots with sparring partners the size of heavyweights as he prepares for his upcoming fight against Jake Paul.
Move your head. Oh, stop closing up. Gotta let it go. Keep turning, step around. Keep turning.
The footage shows Tank pushing his limits by trading blows with much larger sparring partners, showing he's unfazed by their size. His camp is said to have set up these tough sessions to build his resilience and quiet the doubters questioning whether he can handle bigger opponents.
Wake up. Do it to him. Put it on his ass.
Gervonta Davis has been pushing himself in training by going up against much larger sparring partners, heavyweights known for their strength and punching power. These challenging sessions are meant to refine his timing and boost his overall power, showcasing his confidence and willingness to step outside his usual weight division to face fighters far heavier than him. Jake Paul has built his career by choosing fights that attract attention and spark debate. His opponents aren't picked at random. Every matchup seems carefully planned to give him some kind of edge while still creating uncertainty. Whether it's a gap in weight, skill, or fighting style, Jake finds ways to tilt the odds slightly in his favor while keeping fans guessing. That mix of control and risk is what keeps people watching. Supporters know he's strategic, but they also recognize the danger in every bout as he tests himself against unpredictable challengers. Each fight turns into a calculated gamble, a storyline of advantage versus possibility.
What's the key to having a fight that's exciting? Is when you look at one corner, you're like, that guy can't be beat, and you look at the other corner, you're like, that guy can't be beat, and they're about to fight. It just feels like Jake Paul is always picking fights where he has a massive advantage. Like now he's fighting Gervonta Davis, who's, I don't know how much smaller, but probably close to like 80 pounds smaller, which is a crazy, significant weight advantage for Jake Paul. Now, you have to also look at the other way. Gervonta has a crazy advantage over Jake Paul. He has incredible amount of skill, more years of training. For sure, pound for pound, he would mop the floor with Jake Paul. But this is what makes the fight exciting. And two guys fighting, and we don't know who's gonna win. Guys, what's the key to having a fight that's exciting? Is when you look at one corner, you're like, that guy can't be beat, and you look at the other corner, you're like, that guy can't be beat, and they're about to fight. Somebody's about to say go, and these guys gotta go at it. So that's what makes a fight exciting. And so this is kind of that, because if they were the same weight, none of us would tune in. We'd be like, this is just a punching bag for Gervonta. It doesn't make the fight exciting, but because Jake Paul is so big, so much bigger, it makes the fight exciting.
Promoter Eddie Hearn has voiced concern that the upcoming matchup between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul blurs the line between sport and spectacle. He believes boxing's essence lies in genuine competition, not in staged events designed primarily for attention. In his view, this fight feels more like a performance than a fair contest. The noticeable size difference is a major factor. Jake Paul naturally carries more weight, while Gervonta comes from lighter divisions built on speed and technical skill. Hearn warns that when boxing prioritizes entertainment over athletic integrity, it risks undermining the sport's long-standing reputation. He sees this bout as driven more by business and viewership than by a true test of skill, potentially weakening the respect boxing has earned through decades of dedication and discipline.
Said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then, but I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show, it's entertainment, it's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, you know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round. I don't know what it is, but, you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good business. However you want to be involved with it is another kettle of fish. I don't want to be involved with it, but I do respect the fact that it's going to do big numbers. It's just not boxing. And I don't think we should promote it as boxing.
In the meantime, then, Eddie, where does that leave you with Anthony Joshua? Are you exploring other options for the end of this year, or are you still looking at that fight for the beginning?
Yeah, no, we're not interested in the Jake Paul fight right now. After that, I mean, like, you know, we're not going to wait around till November. Is it November or December, whenever it is, and see how he gets on. I mean, if he gets chinned by Gervonta Davis, we can't exactly make the Anthony Joshua fight.
Former champion Paulie Malignaggi offers a pragmatic perspective on the upcoming fight, cautioning fans not to confuse it with a traditional boxing match. For him, it's more of a spectacle than a genuine contest. He notes that the bout carries no betting stakes, has little to no impact on official rankings, and won't have lasting consequences on either fighter's career. In his view, it resembles a modern exhibition, designed to entertain rather than to push professional limits. Malignaggi's comments mirror the concerns of many purists who worry that boxing is prioritizing showmanship over skill. At the same time, his candid take highlights how the business side of the sport has evolved, where personality and promotion can sometimes overshadow belts and titles.
When I watch it, I don't. I just think he's fighting opponents that, you know, are not with it anymore or are too small for him and whatnot. But in this situation, it is an exhibition. So you've got to keep in mind that this could be set up. This could be like WWE. This one could be set up. I don't know. I'm not saying it is, but this is not a sanctioned fight, champ. This is an exhibition. And an exhibition means you cannot bet on it. You cannot bet on the result. If you remember, this is why they changed the Mike Tyson fight from an exhibition to a real fight, because they realized, you know, an exhibition, you could stage it and they couldn't take bets on it. So this is an exhibition. There is no betting on it. So that means, I'm not saying people are going crazy with the opinions, who's going to win, who's going to lose. You don't know what size gloves they're going to wear. You don't even know if they're going to stage the whole thing, because this is something that, as an exhibition, it's not illegal to stage it. So I think this could be all kinds of crazy, wacky stuff. This is a bit of a circus, in my opinion.
Who would you think should win that fight? Would you think that Davis should be able to get in there, even though the size did 100 pounds? Do you think he should be able to do it?
If they don't stage it and don't kind of set up a sort of a mild sparring session, I'd say Davis has a chance. Depends on the size of the gloves. Because here's the thing, Jake is probably 100 pounds bigger than the guy. You know, that's a lot of weight, Carl. You know, you've been in a boxing ring, that still counts. And if you make the gloves small, Gervonta could technically hurt Jake even if he hits him. But the problem is, if the gloves are small, Jake could also hurt Gervonta, because Gervonta's so small. Gervonta's so much smaller than him, you know. So do you make the gloves big, and then really who's got an advantage? I don't know. You know, technically Gervonta's a lot better boxer, but he's so much smaller. I've stood next to Jake. Jake's a big guy. It's like I said, it's a bit of a circus freak show, and that's why I don't put it out of the question that this exhibition could be a bit staged in the ring.
Wade Plemons of the Wade Concept describes Jake Paul as a strategist who knows how to leverage fame and ego to his advantage. Jake isn't just focused on landing punches. He excels at psychological tactics that draw opponents into his game. He creates tension, provokes reactions, and transforms challenges into viral moments. According to Wade, Jake enticed Gervonta Davis into this matchup through a combination of money, attention, and the promise of substantial financial reward. A proposition Tank couldn't easily pass up. Jake's confidence and promotional instincts make each of his fights a worldwide spectacle. And he recognizes that true success comes not only from victory in the ring, but also from shaping the narrative before and after the fight.
Also, and again, Jake's only been boxing for 5, 6, 7 years now. It isn't necessarily far-fetched to try to have his own advantages when trying to fight other boxers that have been far more experienced than him. But this one's a little too much, right? This one is crazy because of the massive weight difference. It doesn't make a ton of sense. But again, as far as a sport fight is concerned, I want to make sure I make that clear. Again, this is not me hating on it, because I do think that both guys have been very upfront with what they're doing in this fight and what their goals are with these kind of events. But the narrative Jake's trying to create as if this is like proving anything for him fighting a real fighter when Gervonta is so much smaller than he is. It'll prove something in the fact that Jake is willing to put on great events, but it won't prove anything to the people that are asking him to fight a real fighter. I will say though, if Jake goes out and flatlines Gervonta, the casual audience that will say Gervonta smokes Jake completely and utterly, like it wouldn't even be close, that will change their minds a little bit. Not the people that know boxing, but the people that are going to watch this, the casual viewer that know the name Gervonta Davis and know the name Jake Paul. If he is to compete with Gervonta at all or look good in that fight, people will in some way accept that. Or they'll do the other thing where they just say the fight's rigged, which has never been the case, but you get what I'm saying. What Jake is doing is trying to convince a casual audience that he belongs in the ring with bigger names. If he's able to hurt Gervonta at all, that might actually do.
Despite all the hype surrounding this matchup, Gervonta Davis is treating it as a serious test. Sources within his camp describe him as focused, disciplined, and fully committed to preparation. His sparring partners have been considerably larger, reflecting his determination to confront the physical challenge directly. Observers at press events have noted his composed demeanor and sharp concentration. Davis isn't swayed by the surrounding spectacle. For him, the fight is about demonstrating that skill and precision can triumph over size and showmanship. This bout carries personal significance, offering him a chance to uphold boxing's technical standards while pushing himself to his limits, both physically and mentally.
In the press conference, and you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games. Don't hit him in the back of the head. Don't rabbit punch him. Don't do any of that stuff, man. Because Mike Tyson, first of all, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not gonna have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash, like you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I gotta say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn. This turn of these exhibition fights and people not caring about the belt and all of that.
The upcoming fight has sparked a divide among boxing fans. Some view it as a threat to the sport's integrity, while others see it as an opportunity to modernize boxing and attract new audiences. Davis supporters see the matchup as a chance to demonstrate the difference between a true professional fighter and a media personality. On the other hand, Jake Paul's fans argue that he's bringing attention to a sport that has struggled to engage younger viewers. The debate highlights a generational clash: those who value boxing as a technical art versus those who embrace it as entertainment. Regardless of opinion, the fight has achieved one thing unmistakably: generating widespread conversation, exactly the way Jake Paul intends.
And number 3, the retirement.
I mean, the backlash is just what people do nowadays. That's just, you give somebody a keyboard, you give them a phone, and they able to hide their face. Yeah, they gonna have a field day. The backlash I get, I understand. Would you say number 2, not fight Shakur?
Yeah, he's saying he'll never fight Shakur. That he ain't gonna do him no favors. That he ain't gonna help him make no money because Shakur broke or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't get all that. That's, you know what I mean? That's against the game. Like, you know what I mean? You at least owe that fight for the game. You know what I mean? You owe the rematch with Lamont for the game. But you owe Shakur for the game just because of the 2 style matchups. You know what I mean? But if he feel like he don't gotta fight him, guess what? We can't sit here and just go crazy about it. But it is kind of crazy. It is kind of corny. You know what I'm saying? If he not gonna fight Shakur, and if he's standing on it like, I'm not ever gonna fight you, I'm not doing you no favors, and all right. But then again, you know what? I don't know what them guys got going on. I don't know what they've been through personally. You know what I'm saying? But would I love to see that fight? Hell yeah, I would love to see that fight. And then number 3, you said what? You said
retirement.
The retirement. Oh, boxing. Boxing. They're around. They're around. It's always gloves around. It's on you. It's on you. I'm chilling. You all right? Yeah, get with me. I know. How you feel? Darshan boy, that's my man. The retirement is like he done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot. This whole experience is a lot. The shit these fighters go through is hard to explain. It's hard to explain because people, they can't see it, so they can't understand it. But it's stressful to the fighters because they coming from just getting ready to fight in the amateurs, being prepared, going out there, win, get it done, celebrate. All right, we back to the next camp. To now, marketing. You're talking about marketing. You're talking about lawyers. You're talking about all this shit that you just never imagined. You like, why do I have to deal with all of this?
The result of this matchup could shape the future of boxing. A win for Jake Paul might encourage more influencer versus professional bouts, where popularity and media presence overshadow rankings and traditional merit. While such fights could attract huge attention, they risk sidelining established champions. Conversely, a decisive victory for Gervonta Davis could reaffirm faith in traditional boxing, showing that skill, experience, and technique still hold the upper hand over hype and promotion. This fight is more than just a contest between 2 fighters. It's a reflection of what direction the sport may take, one rooted in technical mastery and tradition, or one driven by spectacle and celebrity. Despite criticism, millions remain eager to watch. Traditional boxing is often seen as methodical or predictable, whereas Jake Paul's events are fast-paced, chaotic, and designed for shock value. His unpredictable style keeps fans on edge, with each round feeling uncertain and every punch potentially game-changing. Whether admired or despised, he draws attention, proving that spectacle can captivate audiences as much as, or even more than, conventional skill.
The purists hate it, the algorithm loves it, and both will watch. It's not just who wins, it's what wins. Will the entertainment value or the ring IQ come out on top? Because if Tank dominates, the meme dies. Jake Paul survives or hits it big, we see new rules are going to be written in real time. Me, you, maybe everyone at some point has been that bigger guy thinking that I'll just bully him. Jab, slip, liver shot, sat me down real nicely. Size helped until it didn't. All I'm saying is, let's not dismiss something because it looks weird. Many fights get decided by the details. Feet before fists, timing before muscle, discipline before clout. Look, Tank wins if he stays Tank. He's built on patience, traps, explosive counters. That's hell for a tall guy who gets eager. Jake's long jab is the gate, but Tank's head movement is the key. Once he times it, the door's getting open and the furniture is going to get rearranged. Think locksmith versus padlock. Big padlock looks scary until the right tool clicks once. Jake throws that overhand like he's bowling with the shoulder. Effective, but you don't see it.
The fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul raises questions about what constitutes real boxing. Unlike traditional paths that involve climbing rankings, fulfilling mandatory defenses, or pursuing championship titles, this matchup occupies a space between professional competition and entertainment spectacle. Many purists argue that such events threaten the sport's credibility, while others contend they help boxing remain relevant in the social media age. A key difference here is that both fighters are in their prime. Exhibition bouts typically feature retired or past their peak legends, but Davis and Paul are actively building their careers. This dynamic blurs the line between competitive sport and global showmanship. The fight is about more than skill or power, it's about identity. Davis embodies the disciplined, old-school fighter whose reputation comes from years of training and dedication. Paul represents a modern, business-savvy showman who leverages personality and marketing to create impact. Both approaches carry influence, but only one may shape the next era of boxing. A win for Davis could reaffirm the enduring value of traditional skill and technique.
This with fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser, because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career, and for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather.
That wraps up today's coverage. Thanks for watching and be sure to stay tuned for more updates.